Welcome back to Rock Codes. So glad you stopped by today. I wanted to cover real quick how I decide to choose what libraries to use in my applications or in whatever app I'm building. This is something that I see happen a lot where people just make bad choices with what they choose to import into their project. They start running into issues. There's no support for whatever choice they might have made, and it's just all bad. So I just want to kind of cover a few basic things you can look at when you're searching for tools to help you pick the right tools, make the right decisions, and the right choices. So the first thing we're going to look for is a select box for a React app. Let's say I just want something nice, maybe something that's accessible. I'm not really sure if I want to build it myself or just use a regular, built-in HTML tools for this select box. So I'm going to search for React Select. I know exactly what I want, right? So I'm going to search that. And lo and behold, reactselect.com pops up, top of the search results. The site looks nice. It has working examples right here on the web page. I am probably already decided that I'm going to import this into my React application, my React web application. There's really no further search for me to do here. It has exactly what I need, and plus a bunch of other stuff that I probably will not use but may want. Um, so this is a no-brainer. It even has the GitHub stars, 20,000 stars. We could pop over to the GitHub. We could see that, like, even as of an hour ago, somebody tried to commit something. There's commits within 14 days. It's just no point in me not using this library. So this is probably best case scenario. It even has the name React Select, which is what I wanted. The best case scenario for you trying to find something to use is you just run up on the number one thing in that particular scenario. So let's look for something else for React, for a React web app, and we're gonna do some for React Native as well, because that's a slightly different scenario for React Native. That for things you want to look for. So let's say I need a charts app. I'm getting a bunch of data from somewhere. I want to do some graphs or something. I don't want to be digging into some D3 and all of that. So let's search for React charts. Let's just do that. I'm using the word charts because I've heard of something called high charts. You could have probably used other keywords. It's probably going to lead you down the same path, like React graphs. Let's try that. See, even here it says React chart library. So then I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe I should search for React chart library or something like that. So even if you don't have the exact words, if you just kind of look at the search results and see how things come up as you search for what you want, reincorporate what you're finding, even if it's not what you need, that can help you to revise your search. So I'm going to search for React chart library. This first site says top five. I'll give it a look. I don't know this person, and it's on. Looks like this is a Medium site, but whatever. I don't know this person. I'm gonna give it a shot. Let's see what they named. I'm not gonna read any of this. Oh, Rechart. Okay, I'm just gonna look this up. Looks like they didn't link it in the title, so I'm just gonna search up Rechart. Oh, they do have a link to the GitHub. Recharts. Let's see here. Good amount of stars. Looks like they've done some commits recently. 2 days ago, there was something. I don't, it doesn't really matter what it was, but somebody still loves this thing, right? Within the last month, there's been something in the source directory. All right, cool. They've got a website. The README looks cool. Seems to make, standard npm install instruction. They've got a demo somewhere. I'm not going to show you guys the demo, but it exists. It's there. The API looks pretty cool. There's nothing that stands out that makes me not want to use this. Standard React components. I'm going to hit their website just because. Look at that. It's a nice website. It has an example here. I'm going to install this. This looks great. Is this the only option? Of course not. We could, maybe there's something we don't like about this. But I know by looking at this site that this is probably a good library to use. So I'd probably put this on my short list, and if there's something I don't like about it, I could continue my search. So like this particular post has a few others that you might want to use. So this is a good point here. Just looking at this person's post, a lot of libraries come from major companies, and usually that would indicate that that library probably gets a lot of attention and support. It might be popular, it might not, but it may be well built. So that would be a plus to me. Like this Viz library built by Uber probably is a good one to use. I obviously want to look it over and kind of see, like, does it look like it's horrible to use or anything? Yeah, so this also looks like a decent library to use. I mean, I don't see any strikes against this at all. So looking at the documentation, we can kind of see how you use it. And I'm not digging in too deep at this point. I'm just kind of looking at the code examples to see if anything is like immediately alarming. It looks fine, so this would be another one I would want to use. So let's look for something else. Let's try a more difficult topic. Let's try to find a React state management library. Now, this is going to be a difficult one. Everyone knows about some of the top ones. You got Redux, MobX, and a plethora of other ones that came out when Context API came out officially for React. So, and hooks. So this is going to be a little harder to parse through. So let's try to fix our search, right? So searching for React state management, we are not even getting libraries to use because it's such a broad search. We're getting some stuff about like Recoil, which maybe you've heard of it or not. It's one of the latest things for React state management. We're seeing a bunch of posts, even the React docs hits on it. So let's try to make our search a little better, and let's try to search for React state management library. And even in looking in this search, we can see like without Redux comes up. So maybe that's something we'll want to look into later. Maybe we don't want to use Redux, but let's just try libraries. Let's let Google help us out here. This is pretty much impossible, right? Because all we're getting is like a bunch of content, but not really libraries. So let's try this random GitHub with some awesome tool. Let's see. So the first thing I'm looking at when I hit this GitHub is, how old is this? When was this last touched? I don't know this person. I've never seen this before. But I see 9 days ago this was touched. It has 42 commits. So somebody put some work into this. I see MobX on the list. I see Redux on this list. I also see Redux Toolkit, which is a newer one. So this is giving me a lot of direction to go in. Let's pick the first one. I have no idea what this clear X is. I'm going to open this in a new tab. Let's check this thing out. So the first thing I see here is one person is watching this. It has 5 stars. It has 8 forks. That's not a lot. So clearly, let's see, it has 40 commits. Last commit on March 12th of this year. So a few months ago, a lot of work went into this, and then nothing for a few months. And I've never heard of it, and no one really has started this library. I don't really know if I like code examples here. They don't have a website, which is not a major deal, but that kind of shows a little more effort if there's a website with, maybe working examples and things like that. Personally, just hitting this top half of this GitHub for this state management library, I am probably not going to use, because it hasn't been touched in a while and it hasn't been starred or forked very much. It's just not a lot going on here. I'm a little scared. So let's close this out. Let's check out another one. Easy peasy. I've heard of this one. Has a catchy name. Let's see. 3.8k stars, bunch of forks. So that means people are contributing probably. It's got A bunch of pull requests. It's got some issues, which issues to me, if you see a repository that has a lot of issues, it doesn't really mean something is wrong with it. It usually could mean that it's just an active repository. People are using this thing and they're filing bugs and they're asking questions. So that's not immediately a red flag. A red flag to me would be a lot of open issues that nobody has touched for a long time. And especially where you get stuff like, oh, looking for a new maintainer and it's like a really old issue and nobody picked it up, or there's like a lot of people posting the same issue or some issue that everyone is having on this library and there's no response from anyone that is actually doing development on the library, no maintainer response, not even to give workarounds or ask any follow-ups. Those can be red flags. In this particular case, I mean, I'm not going to go through all these issues, but it looks fine. I mean, nothing crazy. Like I said, it has a good number of stars. I've kind of heard of this library. They have a website. The README looks cool. The API seems legit. So if I was looking for state management besides Redux, I might give this a shot. You know, I always like to check out the websites. Vegetarian-friendly state. I don't know. I'm a meatitarian. This might not work for me. But, you know, as a library, it looks pretty cool. If I was looking for an alternative to Redux or just wanted to try out a new state management library, I would give this a shot. All right, so I think that's enough examples of as far as the web side of things. I mean, you know, you just want to make sure you're not picking something that no one else is using, that isn't well documented. Having a website usually indicates that there's better documentation. Sometimes a README is all you need, but a lot of times you need a bunch of examples, some guides, things like that, or maybe a tutorial. If we look at the Easy Peasy website, just as an example, I'm going to assume, see, they've got a quick start on here so you can get up and running on how to use this in various situations. So this is why a website is important. It can tell you officially, like, this is how you use this thing. Let's say we're looking for charts for React Native, right? We did it for web. Let's see what we can find here. React Native Chart Kit. Never heard of that. It's the first result in the Google. Let's give it a shot. React Native chart. So last published 7 days ago for this NPM package. So that shows activity. So what I'm looking at here is usually on the npmjs.com site, which will pop up in search results sometimes, the README here will be the same as the README on the GitHub. So I'm just kind of looking at this to get a feel for how you use this thing. Looks like they have similar to what we saw for the web libraries we looked at. So the API looks fine. I mean, nothing stands out. It doesn't look ridiculous. They're not building, using classes like new chart or something, which I would find a little weird. It's just components, component composition, not object oriented in some weird kind of way. Which may work for you if that's what you're looking for. But what I'm looking for is how I code. And I wouldn't want to see, I got to make a new line chart and then do line chart.render. That would be so weird to me. So, this looks nice. It's trending in popularity. I don't really care about that much. But I do want to go to the GitHub. But yeah, so see, this is the same thing. We can tell by just looking at this thing. Oh, it's TypeScript, so that's cool. Commits from 7 days ago. They've got a good number of stars. So I'll probably try this out. I don't see a problem here. Let's look at the issues. Let's see if there's anything crazy is in the issues. We've got issues from within the last week. This looks fine. They got a website. They got some docs. Easy peasy. That's a great name for a library. Easy peasy. I'll tell you what. So let's see what else we find though. What else did we see here? There's a post here. Using someone's content to me for finding libraries is fine, but you just have to take with a grain of salt what they may have to say about things, because ultimately the code speaks for itself. They're going to link to the code. You can go look at it and form your own opinion. But the opinions of random people on the interwebs, as far as what you should use, even me, you shouldn't just assume I know what the heck I'm talking about. You got to be careful with that. Use your own eyes. Look at the code. Look at numbers. Like this is a nice site here. This has literally the numbers. This is very nice. It has numbers, it has facts, and let's see, it's giving us. Okay, so let's check this out. This is React Native Path.js charts, and I wonder why it has a Capital One logo. Is this made by Capital One? Oh God, last commit was 3 years ago? That's a little disturbing. I don't know if I would use this. Capital One, and it's archived. Please don't use this. Don't use this library at all. Oh God, 3 years ago, that was legit. Okay, so not only did we find out that we don't want to use this, but we found out that this openbase.io site has the right info. Victory Native, which last commit 4 months ago. That's not too bad. I mean, once the library is established, of course, they're not going to still be committing like every day. It has 19,000 weekly downloads, and I think I've heard of this before. It's by Formidable Labs, so reputable, known open source contributors. Here's the website. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely use this. So let's look for something a little simpler. Let's try a calendar for React Native, right? So I'm gonna obviously search for React Native calendar. And first thing that comes up is something from Wix. I know who Wix is. This should be, I would assume they're making good stuff. This is not an old repository. It's got a bunch of stars. People are watching it. It has recent commits, relatively recent. 7 days is actually super recent. They've got a README. Everything looks good here. I love it when they have a GIF like this. Yes, it's GIF. I love it when they do this because then I don't have to like go to a website. I can just look, oh, it's a cute looking calendar. I like it. It has different ways to use it. So yeah, I'm going to use this. There's nothing telling me not to use this. Let's look at a different one though. Let's check out the second on the list. So I don't know this person. I see they have 643 stars, so that's not a huge amount. But it looks like they're committing to this thing. So I think so this is probably not even what I want. This library is, this isn't even what we want. This library is to access the calendars on the devices, not to render calendars. So this is openbase.io popping up again. Who are these people? I do not know, but their site is pretty cute. So we React Native calendar events. That's not what we want. React Native calendars components. We looked at that one from Wix. And this says an easy to use and visually stunning calendar component for React Native. So obviously, this is going to be the GOAT of React Native calendars. Let's go ahead and pull this thing up. I don't know. I like this site, but look, the links are right there. I am blind. All right, so immediately I can see August 7th commits. It's got, it doesn't have that many stars, but this is React Native. So things don't usually have as many stars as you'd have in the web world. So you kind of got to lower your expectations for trends and things like that, for analytics and metrics on the React Native side. But, recent commits, React Native calendar strip. It's got lots of sections here. So I noticed they did not have a website, but they have an extensive README apparently with a bunch of sections. So that's a plus. They've got animated junk on here. I'm going to use it. There's no reason for me not to use it. It looks nice. I can't complain. There's no red flags here to me to say that I should not use this library. Let's look at the issues real quick. So yeah, this is cool. Let's look for one more for React Native. Let's look for React Native notifications. So once again, Wix pops up for this. So that might be a good one to use. Let's take a look. It looks like it's active. It's Wix. I'm not going to stress the metrics too much. There's no website posted, but I don't know what you put on a website for React Native notifications. And it does. So they've got a little wiki going on or something. Oh, they have a website. Well, god dang. They just didn't link it on their GitHub properly. Okay, so React Native notifications. Got the install stuff, tells you how to use it. So I'd probably use this. This looks good. I cannot complain about this library. Let's see what else we can find. Okay, so React Native Firebase has notifications. Now, this is interesting because React Native Firebase has notifications. React Native Firebase is actually I don't want to call it a library, but it's almost like a set of libraries or a suite of libraries to use Firebase in React Native. It is not required, by the way, in order to use Firebase in React Native. However, by running into something like this, you're now having to think about, yes, it does notifications, but they are through Firebase, which you may or may not want, and it is part of a suite of libraries pretty much, which you may not want. You may not want to install React Native Firebase and then install the module for notifications, which then requires you to set up Firebase to have notifications. So in this case, we're finding a good solution for what we're searching for, but it's almost the banana and the gorilla and the entire jungle situation where we just wanted the banana and we don't know if we want to go to the jungle. So not the library's fault, but you really have to evaluate, is this good for my use case? Do I want to pull all this in, or do I want to look for something that's more targeted to what I want? I may not want to have anything to do with anything else in React Native Firebase. I just want to do notifications. So that's going to be all for today. I appreciate you guys stopping by once again. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything that's going to be happening on this channel. Peace.